What's up, guys? Cooking with Caden here. So today's video is going to be about bao buns, and I have a special twist on these buns today. I'm going to basically Americanize them. So first of all, I'd like to apologize to anybody who sees this video and gets really offended that the buns are not made traditionally. I have one other recipe in this dish. It's a little bit more traditional. But the American one's going to consist of macaroni and cheese and fried chicken inside of it. So I'm super excited for you guys to see this video, and I can't wait for you guys to check it out. So let's get right into the video. All right, to start off making these bao buns, we're going to need 4 cups of all-purpose flour. We're going to be adding this to a large bowl such as the one you see here. Now that we've added our 4 cups of flour, we're going to add 3/4 a teaspoon of dry active yeast. And then to that, we're going to be adding it to 500 milliliters of water. You want this water to be warm. The reason you want it to be warm is so that the yeast is activated, essentially. And I'm adding it to water just to make sure it's alive. You can add it straight into the flour. You do not have to do this here. So after we whisk this around to make it well incorporated, we're going to want to get on our hands and knees. So the reason for this is we want to pray to the Lord to make sure our yeast is actually alive. Usually my yeast is never alive. I'm really unlucky with it, so that's why I pray to the Lord. Luckily, he provided here and the yeast was actually alive. So make sure that's a very important step. Get on your hands and knees and pray to the Lord. Make sure that your yeast is alive. So we're going to be mixing this around, just get it well incorporated. If you see the texture of this dough, it is really liquidy. That's because I didn't realize I didn't add 4 cups of flour. So I slapped the dough here because, well, I thought it was funny. Now I'm adding oil to a large bowl. So the reason you want this to do is so it doesn't stick. Don't add too much oil, and now cover it with some saran wrap. As you can see here, I failed multiple times. This is probably like 5 times speed, and I'm failing miserably at doing so. So I'm gonna give you guys a nice little winky face here I put on just because I love you guys so much. So now we're going to be preparing our ingredients for our other dishes. We're going to be cutting a jalapeno here. So if you notice carefully, I'm not cutting through the jalapeno all the way. That's just so I could dice it easier. Now we're going to be cutting green onions. I want you guys to cut these about 1/2 inch or a little bit bigger. Don't really get too much smaller or you won't be able to taste them. So after you get done cutting all those, add some olive oil or any type of oil to a small frying pan or any type of dish you can cook with. So now that we do that, we're going to want to put 1/2 an onion in here. I put 1/2 a diced onion. I didn't show it on camera dicing it. I'm going to assume you guys know how to dice an onion. If you guys don't, tell me, and I'll start putting the diced onion and teach you guys how to do that. But I'm just going to assume for now that you do know how to dice an onion. So add that to your olive oil. I'm probably about medium low heat right now. So I'm adding salt to these onions. The reasoning behind this is so it helps draw out the water and sweat the onions. To this, I'm going to be adding some chopped garlic. I'm also going to assume you know how to chop garlic. Basically, you just get your knife and chop like crazy. Chop, chop, chop. So just add this. We're going to saute it a little bit. I'm adding some oil just so it doesn't burn, essentially. So I'm just wanting this to perfume. So if you notice carefully, I'm adding soy sauce to this pan. I want to hit the hot spots of this pan. I added slightly too much soy sauce in this, but the reason you want to hit the hot part of the pan is because it starts to caramelize, essentially, and it builds a deeper, better flavor if you do that. So please do that. Now I'm adding some crushed red peppers along to this mix. Not essential, but this is what I'm doing. You don't necessarily have to follow along, but choose any single ingredient you want for this one. Now I'm adding my green onion. And this is not cheese. Those are shredded carrots. I just got a grater out and shred them. So now I'm going to prepare my filling for it. I'm slicing chicken lengthwise, and then I'm going to turn it 180 degrees and go the other way. Basically, you want ground chicken here. I'm just grounding my own chicken thighs right here. I would use breast, but I didn't have breast, so this is what I'm using. And now you can see I actually switched my knife because the knife I was using earlier was terrible. So that's basically what your paste wants to look like. So I'm going to be adding some salt to this just because salt is king, and you just do that. So now what you want to do here is you want to add your ground chicken to a pan such as a cast iron or anything such as a sort. So the reason I'm doing this is essentially just to cook it. There's no other reason you need to do it. But you do need to slightly cook it. You don't need to fully cook this because it will be cooked later on. but at least cook it about halfway. Or you could cook one side fully, save about half later, and then add it to your filling. But this is what I'm doing. So to this, I'm adding some Chinese 5-spice. You don't have to do this, but this is what I'm doing. Add anything you want to this dish. This whole meal to me was about doing whatever I wanted. So I'm gonna add some soy sauce to this. The reason is I just like the flavor of soy sauce. So to here, if you have any cabbage, please cook down some cabbage, put it in here. I really, really, really recommend cabbage in this dish. You'll learn later on how I say it. So to all these ingredients, I'm adding some chili garlic. It just gives a little bit of heat, a little bit of garlic flavor that I think is really good. So if you have some chili garlic on hand, I would put some in there. So now I'm going to be adding 1 whole egg. This is an egg, basically just helps keep it bind it together. You won't taste the egg at all, but I do recommend it. You do need it. So now we're going to be starting on our macaroni for our American version. We're adding some salt to water. So the reason for this is when you boil your pasta, your macaroni, or whatever noodle you're going to be using, it just has some salt flavor. So now I'm going to be adding some elbow macaroni pasta. You don't need to add this specific type of pasta. Add any type of pasta you would like, but this is what I would recommend. So now we're going to be making a roux, essentially. So you just get some butter. I have it sped up here for you guys. This took literally like 7 minutes to heat up because my pan wasn't hot whatsoever. So now we're going to be adding some flour into that. After you get some flour, you really want to whisk it around. Make sure it's nice golden color right now. And then you're going to be adding some milk to this. As you can see, it starts to clump up. Don't add all your milk at once. Go little by little, or it'll be just one big globby glue of mess. So go little by little until it's nice thin paste. So now we're adding American cheese. You're thinking, why? American cheese sucks. Yeah, but it's really good at melting, so it does taste good in this. So I'm just whisking that around, whisk. Essentially, you just want to whisk this thing a lot. So now we're going to add even more cheese. Any type of cheese you would like to see in your macaroni, just do this. So we're adding a ton of sharp cheddar here. You don't need to use this type of cheese. This is actually cheap cheese. Usually I would recommend grinding your own. But I just wanted to use that cheese because I had some. So I added some pasta water in that. The reason for that is it actually thickens up the sauce, the roux. So not only do that, so add a little bit of that, add some pepper to that, season it, salt it to taste. So taste your roux you made. And if it's bad, change whatever you need to change, and then it'll be good. So add that to your macaroni pasta. Now I'm just going to mix it around. I just really want this nice, well-incorporated dish right here. So remember, just keep whisking it until it's nice and homogeneous. So I'm adding a little bit of extra cheese here because I really want this to be nice and cheesy. The flavors need to be strong in this dish because if they're not strong, the bao buns will overpower, along with the fried chicken we're going to be adding this. So make sure you whisk it nice and strong and firmly. So after we mix this, we're going to be adding some bacon and jalapeno to a frying pan. So I just really thought this macaroni would taste really good if it had some bacon in it, because who doesn't love bacon? I know I do. So you can just hear that right here. That bacon sounds phenomenal. So now we're adding the bacon and jalapeno mixture to our macaroni and cheese. Once again, we're just going to want to get all of that in there and go to work and just start mixing it. So after an hour of mixing, no, not really. This doesn't take too long. It's actually not even sped up that much. I just don't want you guys to waste your time. So just keep mixing it around until it's nice and uniform and consistent. So once we got our macaroni and cheese ready, we're going to be heading on to our fried chicken. In this flour, I have paprika, garlic powder, pepper, and salt to it. You can add any other. Oh, I also have cayenne pepper in it. You can add any single spice you want. I'm not going to tell you every single spice I have in there just because this is all preference. So now we're going to be adding some chicken strips in there. I'm using chicken thigh. I would actually use chicken breast, but if you like thigh more than breast, then you can do whatever you want. That wasn't a dirty joke, I swear. So I'm actually going to dip this chicken into ice water. So I saw a reel on Instagram one of these days, and I was like, I really want to try this out. So I'm just trying it out today. It's not necessary whatsoever. I actually wouldn't recommend it, but do try it out. So we're going to be dropping this fried chicken into some hot oil here, about 325 degrees. And I'm just going to let you guys listen to this audio because it sounds great. So essentially what we're doing here is we're frying this in 325 degree oil, and then we're par frying this. So we're going to take out our chicken after it develops a nice color. So this is the second fry here. We're adding this to 375 degree oil after it's already been slightly cooked. So the reason for this is it develops crispier skin, and you can see how much darker that is compared to the other chicken. So after our initial 2-hour rise, we are ready to use the dough. So after you take out the dough, you want to dust your counter with some flour. The reason for this is just so it doesn't stick. You don't really you want to add as little flour as possible. So this takes absolute ages. You just want to knead it for probably 5 minutes. It can depend. You're just kneading it to get nice and combined so it's not sticky. My dough was a little bit sticky. It wasn't too sticky. So I have some nice music in the background here. I actually really like this classical song as a side note. So after we knead it, which is done now, we're going to poke a little hole in it. I'm not entirely sure what this technique is called. I forgot genuinely. So you just want to poke a dough in your hole, and then you're going to slip your hand through it, and you just want to roll it out. Yeah, just like that. So now I have nice little loops here. The reason for this is it basically makes a snake-like structure. So we're going to be cutting these until we can form them with our hands. You can use a rolling pin, but I'm not good at using the rolling pin. So I'm just making little tiny pizzas, basically. Essentially make a really small pizza, but you want the middle to be thick. The reason for this is it holds the dough better, the filling. So if you have thick pastries or thick pieces of dough, not pastries, it'll just hold the dough much better. So I'm just going to do this a couple times so you guys can kind of try to see the technique I'm using here. I'm not good at these. You can watch another video on it, honestly. So I'm going to be adding our more quote-unquote traditional filling to these dough wrappers here so we can crimp these. So I am absolutely abysmal at these. So I really do recommend, if you're watching this video and you really want to try this, watch someone else teach you how to do this. I'm bad at them, but basically I'm just trying to get it together. Which you can see here, this one didn't turn out too bad. It's not bad for a first attempt. So you just want to keep doing that essentially. Now we are onto our American one. I'm getting my macaroni and cheese here, okay? Now we have our fried chicken set to the side that we're going to put inside of this. So this is really going to taste good. There's no way it couldn't, you know. So just fill up these pieces of chicken with it. Don't add, actually, I would add a ton of this. Add as much as you can possibly fit into this. So you'll see later when we're doing the review, this was a little bit too doughy. So one of two things you want to do. You would either want to add a lot of filling, which I would recommend, or get the dough technique down, which is much harder to do than just add a lot of filling. So we're going to be steaming these. You want to steam these for 15 minutes and then let them rest for 5. So I'm putting this in a nice steam pot, and you want to put some parchment paper down on the bottom of these, and you want to spray it with some non-stick cooking spray, or you can lightly oil it. So right here, you can see me hitting this with the spray here. This is what you want to do. This is what I did. Just cut a little circle out. And now after our 15 minutes and 5 minutes of rest, these dough buns are done. Us your name. So hello, now we're going to get right here into the review of this video.
I'm just going to try his food. Okay. I'd say it's pretty good. My only thing is that there is too much, there's not enough of the inside, you know? It's too much, like, of the, dough, yeah.
Is it warm on the inside?
It's good. It's nice and warm.
Okay.
Nice and hot.
I wasn't sure if it would be hot or not.
So it's good, but it's just a little too much dough. I mean, I'll go less dough, but it's good.
I think this is the part where you tell me to learn how to actually fold these properly. So
name tag all.
I don't know if you knew or not, but obviously those are you actually had a decent shape one. Let me see that one. Yeah, this is the best I could do. It's not supposed to look like that, but all right. So here's my review. I've actually never had these. I'm really curious how they'll taste. So this is American one with the macaroni and cheese and the fried chicken. So it actually feels quite fluffy on the outside. It feels really pillowy and has a nice texture, almost like a cloud. So I'm gonna take a bite. I actually really enjoy this for some reason. I will say the same exact thing as my cameraman Brennan said. There's way too much of the dough. Mostly because I didn't fold them correctly. So if you were to do them about as big as these, if you can look at that, there's a big real spot here. So what you really want to do is either put a lot more filling in there, or you want to crump the edges properly to where they don't make that shape. All right, Brennan, glad to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
So I'd like to hear your thoughts on the dish itself as well.
This one, much better. There's not as much dough. There's a lot more filling. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe there's more filling to dough ratio. I really like the seasoning on the chicken inside of here. It's very good. Sorry, name tag fell. The seasoning on the chicken's very good. I like the vegetables. Like you said that you wish you put cabbage in here. Yeah, I think cabbage would be a great addition to it, and it would be more like the traditional Chinese one. But yeah, other than that, very delicious. The flavors are great. Good spice to it, and just good dough to filling ratio. Good job.
All right, so here's the Asian version of this one. A more traditional version. Definitely not traditional still. So here's my thoughts on it. Immediately biting into this, I thought it's really soy-like. A lot of soy in there. Man, oh, I wish it had cabbage in it so bad. I didn't have any cabbage. I would have put it in there. I actually like this quite a lot. Definitely if you have ginger, put it in there. If I got ginger, because I'm a dummy. I actually like this a lot, so I would definitely recommend trying some version of this. So, try it at home. All right, here we got our bao buns here. Tell us your name and tell us about this food you're gonna be eating here.
My name's Joe. You might know me. I'm from the show Master Chef. I'm gonna be giving a little critique on what he's made. See if he's good. See if he's not. You know. Let's take our first bite.
Where you going?
Absolute dog shit. The worst food I've ever tasted in my life. This is an insult to any Asian person ever. Why would you ever make this? You're a disgrace. I don't know why you call yourself a master chef. Do you know what it means to be a master chef? I want you off the show immediately. Like, this is horrible. I've never had anything worse. And thank you.
All right, Joe. We're glad to have you back. So let's hear your thoughts on the so-called Chinese version of this recipe. Let's hear your thoughts.
Don't know why I'm here. We all know the answer. It's going to be terrible. But, you know, I got to make money somehow, so. There is no acidity in it. You need to have acidity. Acidity is the best thing in food. This, perfection. That is what we like to see. Terrible.
Hey guys, if you made it this far in the video, I'd like to thank you once again. So if you get this far, I'd like you to comment something such as comment bears in this video. Leave a like, a comment, and subscribe if you'd like to. I would really appreciate it. Thank you guys very much. Have a great rest of your day.